of the qualifying final between Port Adelaide and Glenelg, and that will be coming to you live on ABC television. But first up, let's have a look at the Scott Hodges show. So Michael Abbott getting things underway. This is the qualifying final. Port Adelaide versus Glenelg. Good crowd in, and it should be a marvellous game. The Magpies, plenty of experience in finals. And Glenelg, well, they've only won 4 premierships, and they'd be keen to get off to a good start. Smith gets the first free kick of the match. One of the key players for Port Adelaide, gets on with it quickly. Long kick toward full forward. Up goes Tyler, couldn't control it. Taken away by Scotty Hodges. Oh, yes, terrific start for Port Adelaide. Hodges gets his first.
Braden Lyle, watch him go. He's a young and exciting player. Rowan Smith says go. He offers the Shepherd. 5 bounces up the centre of the ground. Over the 50, and he's got Hodges. Tremendous play from Braden Lyle. An enormous find for Port Adelaide this year. Started out in the pre-season cup competition, showed promise, has played all but every game this season, and he's drilled it beautifully to Hodges. He's got the first one on the board. Can he get the second? He just has to sit it up about 4 metres out from goal, and the breeze should do the rest. He's had plenty of experience. Here it'll go, very close. Oh, he's on fire, the man. But they said didn't want to play for the Crows. He loves his Port Adelaide jumper. What a great start. But it's a bit gusty, and it might be going across the ground more than it is to left of screen. But if, in fact, it is how I think it is an advantage. Let's watch if Scott Hodges can get an advantage with it. He's got his third. He's absolutely on fire, Scott Hodges, and they've got to do something about him. 4-3 to Maggies. And he did it so confidently, Scott Hodges. And Darren Mead, from deep in defence, picks out Foster through the centre. The Magpies are away again. They're over half forward. Hodges with a charge of it, 6. It does to the open, and he's 4th. What a start to Maggies. They're going to be hard to stop the way they're playing at the moment. They're 5-3, 33. The Tigers are 7 points, and Hodges has got 4. Well, a super performance from Hodges. But you've got to pay credit to that defence, the way they break away. They don't fiddle around with it. They go straight up to the goal front. They know they've got a winner up there. They look for him, and Hodges drills it through. He's got pace, he's got strength, and he's got kicking abilities. He puts through goal number 4 for the term.
Wasn't it a terrific bounce for him there? McGuinness clinches the teeth and then knocks it to the side. It only goes as far as Hull, who's a terrific young player. Short kick, an awkward one, and Scott Hodges has read it superbly in that tricky breeze.
Well, is this going to be some sort of record-breaking performance? 5 goals in the first quarter of any final would be sensational.
I just wonder whether Hocking's on him now. So he's already had, well, that's his 3rd opponent. What an effort by Scott Hodges. He's a terrific player. We know that. There's the kick. Well done, Scott Hodges. That was very, very good. It's 6-3 to 1-1. The Magpies lead.
That is the kick of a class footballer. They're looking for him every time they win possession, Port Adelaide. Hodges isn't letting them down. He's making position magnificently, throwing Glenelg's defending players all off balance, and his kicking has been an absolute treat, even off the sharp angle, and with the breeze, he's allowed for it beautifully, and straight through for number 5. Chalmers will probably kick this. He's 60 out.
He's kicked a magnificent goal in a grand final, about 80 metres. That kick, oh, what a terrific mark by Hodges again.
It's a one-man show.
Dear, look at this kick. 55 metres. Hodges in front, one hand, grabs it and comes down with it on his chest. Super.
6 goals in 1 quarter.
Bang. Kicks it out of the stadium. 6 goals to Scott Hodges, 8 to Port Adelaide, 8-3 to 1-1.
Glenelg defenders ignoring the basics. They're playing from behind, and just watch how enthusiastically they go for the punch here. Under 10s do it better. Look at that. 2 big men, Hocking and West, both of them can't spoil. Hodges comes in with 1 hand, and from point-blank range, in time on, hits his 6th. He's kicked 3 on Lamb, 3 on West, and he has just absolutely destroyed Glenelg in this first quarter.
Thank you very much, David. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Football Park live here, and Port Adelaide in the qualifying final have gone absolutely berserk. They're dominating, aren't they, Neville Roberts?
Well, they are dominating, and it's been an incredible game. Scotty Hodges got away to a beautiful start in the first quarter. He kicked 6 goals, and there wasn't anything that Mark Williams could do about him. He tried Clayton Lamb on him. He tried Hocking on him. Everyone's had a crack at him, but no one could stop him. He's proceeded on. He has 9 goals at the moment here at Football Park, and really the interest here is whether he can kick something like 10 or 12 goals.
57 points the margin. Let's check now the AFL score. The big game today in Melbourne, it was between Essendon and West Coast, and Essendon winning 16-12 to 11 goals 10. So Essendon play Adelaide next Saturday at the G, and the winner of that match will go through to the grand final. What a terrific game back here at Football Park. Let's introduce Nipper Christie. Good afternoon, Nip.
Good afternoon, Mark. Yes, it's been a tremendous performance by Port Adelaide, and the way that Glenelg had kept in touch until midway through this third quarter, one would have thought that they had a chance to go into the final turn, the opportunity to get up and perhaps snatch the game, but not at the moment. They're playing too well.
We thought they had a chance here, didn't we? But all of a sudden, Port Adelaide went berserk. They turned it on for about 5 or 6 minutes, kicked 3 or 4 goals, and the Bond boys have just been something special, haven't they?
Well, that's the thing. They have the individual brilliance of players that can just swing a game in a matter of minutes, and that's exactly what has happened on 2 occasions today.
Well, it has, and their on-ballers have been superb, Geneva, and we talk about the Bonds and the centre breaks. I think Troy Bond has been responsible for the majority of centre breaks. In fact, there's not much between the stats, and that's what's been strange about this game. Port Adelaide and Glenelg have been pretty much square. In the first quarter, it was 66 each. That's total possessions. It was 139 at half-time, and it's about 212 each at the moment, so nothing in it. And in terms of goal scoring, each side's had pretty much the same opportunity. So Port Adelaide, really the difference, and we've said it before, is Scott Hodges. He's kicked 9 goals and had about 10 or 11 kicks.
Well, that first quarter was just unbelievable, wasn't it, Nipper? I mean, the ball was going to him well on occasion, but quite often it was a little awkward for him. He was still taking the mark. He was doing some excellent work on the ground, and he was just absolutely on fire, wasn't he?
Well, it was the way that he went into the ball with confidence, and as soon as he had the first 2 or 3 on the board, every player from further afield knew that they had Hodges in form in front of the goal front, and they just drilled every attack towards him, and he didn't let them down. Consequently, in this third turn, he's just gone on with it.
Are they going to get back into this game? I don't think they can. Are they going to get back into it, do you think, Glenelg?
No,
I mean, we don't want to preempt now because we've still got another quarter to go, but I think you've got to be realistic.
Well, I think you've judged it pretty well. It'd be very, very hard for Glenelg to turn this game around. Every time they've made a comeback at Port Adelaide, just their experience, they've steadied. The Darren Smiths and the Genevers and the Greg Phillips have just controlled it. They've done the percentage things. When they're in defence, they don't take too many gambles. They keep control of the ball. They work it back out, and their mistake level has been very low. They've played good percentage football, and their disposals and their skill levels have been what you'd expect from them in the final. And it doesn't matter what Port Adelaide side goes into a final, they always play well in big games.
It may well be Greg Phillips last season. He's played for something like 18 seasons. So had a bit of a problem earlier on in the match, though, didn't he? Got a bit of a corky, perhaps.
Yes, indeed. And let's have a look at it. Watch the right leg of John Fidge into the buttocks of Greg Phillips, and over he goes. He's going to have a very sore bum tonight, and all I can say is his good wife will have a bit of massaging to do there, because that'll be very deep, and it'll be very hard to get the blood out of that area.
I don't think you were supposed to say that, Neville.
I don't think so. It didn't come out that much. But generally, it's a very hard injury to get rid of, and he's going to have to carry that, Greg Phillips, but he's pretty tough, and he's played well since then. He's been in control, but they support him around there, don't they? Rosonico and Delaney.
Well, the thing about it is, Neville, every time he's won a possession since that particular injury, he hasn't tried to kick the ball, and yet he's still getting possessions.
Yes, indeed. He's a stalwart, and, well, if it is his last season, he's going for his 9th premiership or 8th premiership or whatever it is. And Port Adelaide, they just had a dose of them, haven't they? John Cale's 15th year. He's in his 8th premiership as well, and it's been an incredible coaching career. Of course, he's against a former player he's coached who played in 3 of his grand finals in Mark Williams, and it's not the day out that Mark expected.
OK, thanks, Neville, and thanks, Nipper. It is 3-quarter time here now. It's 21-10 to 11 goals 13. Port Adelaide absolutely dominating. It's been a fantastic game if you're a Port Adelaide supporter. There's no doubt about that. We're going to show you the last quarter live coming up very shortly. Repeating the score, 21-10 Port Adelaide, Glenelg 11-13.
The McGarry Medal. The fairest and most brilliant player, who will it be? Tiger Nick Chigwidden. The Redleg Stephen Patterson. Rooster Brendan Phillips, or Magpie Troy Bond. A night of spectacular action and some unexpected moments. The 1993 McGarry Medal, Tuesday night at 8:30, live and exclusive on ABC TV.
Welcome back to Football Park. Qualifying final, Port Adelaide 21-10, 136. Glenelg 11 goals, 13, 79. Let's check the quarter by quarters. Port Adelaide got off to a terrific start, 9-3, 57-2, 113. And they continued on. They kicked 12-4 by half-time. Glenelg had 6-11, so it was a terrible quarter for them because they struggled. They just
14 shots for 4 goals.
They just couldn't get them through. And it was 21-10, or it is 21-10, 136 to 11-13, 79. Let's have a look at the goal scorers.
Well, Scott Hodges has been the leader there, Nipper.
Sensational performance by Hodges. Tyler and Borlace and Shane Bond, 3 apiece. Huller's got 1 for Glenelg. Chig Whidden, 3. Fitch, 2. Gibbs, Mansell and McGuinness, 1. But certainly the honours and all the highlights, of course, aimed at Scott Hodges with his 9 in 3 terms.
Yes, and we have to pay a tribute to John Fitch. He's done a good job. And there's John Cale and screen. As we said, in his 15th season as coach of Port Adelaide, he has 8 premierships. Since he joined them in '74, and of course he had a stint with Collingwood in the AFL and then West Adelaide. Mark Williams, of course, one of his tutors. He played with Cale in 79, 80, 90 and 92 in premiership teams. This is his first year since taking over from Kim Hodgman. And the Tigers, they've been just a drought of premierships down there, hasn't it, Mark? They've only won, what, 1934, 85 and 86 under Corn. So 4 premierships only in over 100 years. So Mark Williams employed to take a little bit of Magpie desperation and know-how to the Bay, and they've met 3 times this year, and the honours are in favour of Port Adelaide 2-1.
So Mark Williams, well, he's been there and done that. He's played in premierships. He's got his problems today as a coach against the team that he played in those premierships. And hasn't he got a problem? I mean, it's something like 10 goals down. He's got the chessboard out. He's going to make some changes, but well, I think, sadly, it is far too late.
Well, he can do what he likes with that board. I think he can just chuck it up in the air and let them drop where they are, because I was critical in the first quarter. They played from behind their defenders. In one case, Scotty Hodges jumped. I think Hocking and West both went with him, and neither of them actually offered a punch. And, I mean, it's those sorts of things, playing from behind when you're kicking into a breeze, etc., etc. They're just basics for veteran players. And they've got no one to blame but themselves. And, of course, they're bad kicking in that second quarter.
Well, of course, you know, while Scott Hodges has been kicking his 9 goals up at the goal front, Fidge, as you mentioned, Neville, has done a pretty honest day's work up at the goal front for Glenelg. But it's been the way the ball has come down to him that has given him very little opportunity whatsoever. Many times he's led and the ball has been kicked wide or too high and has been set up for Delaney, who's played a wonderful game at full-back for Port Adelaide. But Fidge really hasn't been given much in the way of opportunity.
He's been given no opportunity. The ball coming through the centre field, there's been lots of pressure. The Port Adelaide defence and their attack on the ball, even out of the centre and so on, there's just no free runners. I mean, Marshall, who's
well, have a look at him here.
Exquisite disposal. He's having a spasm at the moment, Mark Williams, and I would be if I was coaching that team too today, because they've just let go out of the window all the basics. Their catch net, if you like, of the discipline and toughness and all the things that he prides himself on, they've just thrown out the door today. And as I said, even the exquisite skills of David Marshall under pressure have gone wanting today. And it's been very, very hard for John Fitch to be a player on a lead kicking goals. But I take your point, Nipper. What he's done very desperately, John Fitch. He's offered strength, and he really grit his teeth in that second quarter and said, well, look, if we're going to do something, this is how we're going to do it.
Well, he led the way. Now, Mark Williams, we've been speaking about, he would know what is expected in a final such as this and against Port Adelaide. It is now...
Well, that's why he's employed there, Nipper. That's why they bought him.
It's a matter now of whether they've got the personnel to carry out the instructions that he, no doubt, is demanding of the players that are out there.
He would be absolutely ropeable.
He'd be livid. He knows what's expected, and it's up to those 20 individuals out there to perform. But I doubt that they can get back I don't think they can make a great impression on the scoreboard at the moment as far as the gap is concerned.
And I think the other significant thing is here, fellas, is that Glenelg need to beat Port during a final if they're going to beat them in the grand final, and that's what they've struggled to do. Look at him going there. He is going quite over the top, isn't he? I mean,
well, you can understand it too, because they've prepared their whole season. And as I said, I harp on the word, but I mean, they've brought a little bit of magpie intelligence. They've brought it to the Bay to try and learn and develop what sort of mystique the Magpies have every September, October. We see it here. We've seen it here for my lifetime anyway. It doesn't matter what side they bring to Footy Park. It could be in a wheelchair, and it still performs well. They do the same things, almost as if there's a cassette plugged in their head. That's why he's at the club, Mark Williams, and he has tried all year, and he's had a pretty good season. I mean, he beat Port once, although they've got the Magpies there, have beaten them twice, both in rounds 7 and 16, I think.
But Neville, that means nothing here, does it?
Well, it doesn't in September. And I said it earlier in the season that the Magpies were cruising. They were on holiday pay through June and July because they were 4 games clear in top spot. And John Cole didn't care about that. He doesn't want to motivate them to win games in August. He wants them to win games in September and October, and that's what's happening here today.
Well, I mean, Port Adelaide have been the trendsetters for so long under this man here, John Cahill. But this season we've seen Central District beat Port Adelaide twice. Norwood have beaten Port Adelaide twice. So why can't players in a black and gold Guernsey get up and beat Port Adelaide? Is it a mental blockage, whether it be Mark Williams, a former Port Adelaide champion, or whoever?
Well, I can tell you what would lie around that club since they've been in business. They've run second 11 times, and 4 of them under Curley since whatever it was, 67. So under Graham Corns, I think they lost a couple of flags, 2 or 3. So they've got a bit of a phobia in finals. There's no doubt about that, and I'm not jinxing them. But they're certainly not performing like a finalist side here today when they've performed very adequately against the Magpies during the year.
How often do you see a coach that angry, Neville?
Oh, well, you'd expect it too. I mean, he really does live for footy. He's obsessed with it. He's very intense, and today would have been absolutely vital to him.
Last quarter, Port Adelaide, Glenelg. It's the qualifying final. The Magpies lead 21-10 to 11 goals, 13. Michael Abbott and Tim Pfeiffer officiating. That's Tim Pfeiffer getting things underway. Here's Neville Roberts.
So the action in this qualifying final with Port Adelaide well and truly in control. Can the Tigers reverse the trend? Mansell, he's been quiet. He's done very little and they need him. He's a goal-kicking genius when he sets his mind to it. But he's given Fidge an opportunity, the man we think one of the better players for the Tigers today.
Good bit of work. Here's now Fidge. Better delivery to him. And this man has shown that give him the opportunities, and John Fidge can kick you a match-winning score. But they haven't delivered it to him until now. So can he come back and give them hope?
In he comes. He'll kick from 40 metres. He pops it up. He's a professional in front of goals, John Fidge. He has no trouble with that one. He posts his 3rd goal for the Tigers.
An honest day's work from Fidge. He's set up a couple of other goals for them. He's always given them a target, but the target has rarely been hit this afternoon. He made the perfect position. They gave him the opportunity, and he didn't let them down.
So they needed that. There's no doubt about it. 21-10 to 12-13. John Fidge gets his 3rd. Delaney's done very well. 136 to 85. So what can Glenelg do? Chalmers, under pressure, gets a 35-metre kick forward. Here's Gibbs and Williams. Gibbs into Williams back, and Williams gets the free kick.
He's a clever player, Stephen Williams. He played for it, and he got the player into his back, had to get the kick.
So Stephen Williams is on the field for Port Adelaide. There's the kick looking for Tylor. Hull over there as well. Now McGuinness. They're just going backwards here, aren't they? Stewart, high kick, northeast, tries to half volley it. Good tackling by McCulley, well done. Heel. To centre wing, they charge out after it. I was just going to say, so Stephen Williams on the ground enjoying it. Mark Williams as coach off the ground, not so. It's 21-10 to 12-13, and there he is. He's still shouting and carrying on. I think that might be Clayton Lamb just poking his head around the corner. We've played 2 minutes last quarter, and at this stage it looks as though it will be Port Adelaide and the Eagles next week in the 2nd semi. But we've still got about 27 minutes to go.
And just to confirm what I said earlier, Port Adelaide have 123 touches, kicks and airballs, and Glenelg have got 122. So they've had just as much of it, but haven't used it anywhere near as well. As Hill sends them into attack, Fidge on a lead again. He's got it, and he's making a big difference up forward. If only they could have done more of that, Nipper.
Yes, Neville, and certainly once again, that delivery into the forward line so very, very crucial. They've got a good goal-kicking full forward. Deliver the ball to him, and he'll deliver the goods for you. Now he's got to kick this one.
So Fidge has 3. In he comes from 40 metres. Again, he's on target. And the second goal in just as many minutes. That's his fourth. So he hasn't given up the ghost. The Tigers go a lot to 13-13. Port Adelaide at 21-10.
Simon Hill, always a good deliverer of the ball. Perhaps just a fraction high, but Fidge so strong, and putting the ball in the right place will give him every opportunity. He won't let you down. So perhaps just a glimmer, a slight glimmer of hope for the Tigers.
Well, the margin now is 45 points, 21-10, plays 13-13. We've played almost 4 minutes. And that's the AFL final score. Essendon defeating West Coast by 32 points. So Essendon play the Crows next Saturday at the G for a place in the grand final against Carlton. Here's Tim Ginniver. He has been around for a long time. Scott Hodges the target. Oh, well done by Hamish Stewart. That was good.
Tremendous ball from the young fella. Kept his eyes on the ball the whole way through. Coming across in front and whack. Straight out of play. Now Glenelg have to go forward.
Hamish Stewart in picture. Had a little rest on the bench, then came back to the full forward now with Scott Hodges. Beautifully done. Williams sends it towards goal. He's a little offside. Tyler at the back of the pack, and he's taken it.
Gee, read the ball, fall of the ball beautifully there.
Watch him run
Mark
around
Tyler is dropping back. It's a very tight angle. The breeze won't help him at all.
Scott Hodges did the same thing at the other end of the ground. Can he repeat the feat as he turns it in towards goal? And that is more of a banana kick than a reverse punt. So Mark Tyler, leading goal kicker in the SANFL. He has 3 goals today, takes his total to 90 for the year.
46 points. It's a good buffer, isn't it? 46 points. There's Gibbs's kick. This is Craig McRae, one of the fastest players in the local competition. Good kick, well done, well directed, looking down there for a play. I think it might have been Barton. Now the umpire's come across, he's blown his whistle. There is a free kick down there, it's going the way of Smith. That's Julian Burton, in fact, one of the blondes. And Burton gets on with it quickly, looking for Bond. Couldn't quite control it down there. It's in front of the members. Thompson, now Smith. Kretschmer with him. And there'll be a ball up. 21-11, 137. Glenelg 13-13, 91. The lights have come on. They're using the yellow ball. And it's been a very successful day down here at Football Park. Almost 6 minutes last quarter.
And Tim Pfeiffer, the umpire, just calling up play together with Michael Abbott, have been in control of this game today. Right in front of our commentary position, Stuart McCulley, the best performed tap ruckman in the league this year, sends it forward. Troy Bond tries to give his team the advantage, but inadvertently gives it to Bailey onto Kretschmer, and the Tigers go forward. West, front position in front of Phillips, over his shoulders the call, and James West, who had a little stint on Scott Hodges, gets the kick. Beautifully done to find Finch, the best performed Tiger at Footy Park today.
And they're really starting to look for him now, but it's all too late.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Oh, Mark, they couldn't get up from here. 7 goals against Port Adelaide, even with a 4-goal breeze. He played nearly 7 minutes, but I guess John Fitch may give them hope if he can get this one.
He'll kick from 40 metres on a tough angle. Scotty Hodges kicked one from here in the first quarter, but John Fitch is unable to repeat that. And the umpire signals just the 1 point. So the Glenelg bench, Nick Chigwidden, the skipper, Mark Williams, the coach, at 7 minutes in, the scoreline looks very, very bad for the Tigers.
I wonder why Chiggy's off, whether it's form or injury. He did come off at half-time in the last, during the last time these two sides met.
Yes, well, Chigwidden today has really had a bit of a hiding at the expense of the Port Adelaide runners.
Julian Burton's kick up to half-back now. A chance for Heel, a long bomb. Fidge was the target again, but the kick wasn't anywhere near him. Actually, with respect, that ball heading toward West as well. But Mead has comfortably taken care of it. 5 kicks and 2 marks. From centre half-back, he goes very long looking for Northeast. He's had a very good year, Northeast. Rough chance, too, for the Magarey medal. Would have polled very well, I would have thought. 21-11, 13-14. So the Magpies 137, Glenelg 92. Got 2 jumpers on, you were saying earlier, Neville.
2 jumpers on and both thumbs taped. I'm sure it's only just his thumbs, and that's not unusual. A lot of players do that. it's not hard to develop a weakness around there. You can see his hands there now, both thumbs are taped. And he might just like to wear a couple of jumpers, but I can't see any large padding or anything. He's a pretty tough customer, and he might just want to keep a little bit warmer at Footy Park today, Mark.
Well, Nipper's wearing his jumper again. It's a very nice one.
It's a lovely vest, that, isn't it?
I do notice, Nipper, both your elbows are worn out, though.
Get a couple of those
Well,
pads.
give me a decent one next time, Mark.
Yes, there's Northeast. We've played 8 minutes last quarter. Good crowd in attendance too. Not sure, perhaps 15 or 16,000. May even been a shade more than that. Here's Craig McRae, got it from Marshall. Then kicks to Fidge, who's battling down there. But Mead is ever reliable, gives it to another very reliable man, and that's Delaney to Smith. So they sweep it away. Now they've changed direction here. The runners are coming from all over the place. There's Delaney, there's Phillips. Delaney says to Phillips, chip it short, and that's exactly what he does. He's got Hull, centre wing, kicks to Bailey, or kicks into Bailey. Now Hamilton. Hamilton about 85 metres out, an awkward one, but he's found West. An attacking hand pass to Barton, who's in trouble. Probably not the best option. Here comes Fidge, and the big man does it ever so easily. He tries to kick around the corner. It's well charged down by Mead. Now picked up by McGuinness, and McGuinness has scored. Second goal to McGuinness. Another one to the Bays. They're 14-14, 98. The Magpies 21-11, 137. Nipper Christie.
Well, one often wonders about that attacking move of Port Adelaide as Delaney drifted right down the ground, and when the turnover came, Glenelg were always going to have the loose player in attack. They used it up. Fortunately, McGuinness pounced on the ball in the pocket. They still had an opportunity earlier, but McGuinness's snap was true.
Happy with that, McGuinness. So too the Tigers at 98 points. They trail Port Adelaide 1-3-7. 10 minutes gone, and you'd have to be a black and yellow eyed supporter to think that the Tigers could get out of this one, but that's what this great game's made of. Miracle wins and big turnarounds.
Sorry, Neville, funnier things have happened. Now, that's the result of the earlier game, Norwood defeating Central. That was the elimination final. Norwood continue on, Central out of business, and the margin there, 21 points.
That's right, so Norwood will play the losers out of this game today, and of course the winners go into the second semi-final against the Eagles. And just a reminder that that game has been moved to Sunday next week as a result of the Crows preliminary final match. So the first and second semi-finals will be played on Sunday the 19th of September, and for your information, the car park opens at 10:30, the gates at 11, and the game starts, the first semi, at 12:25.
And tickets go on sale for the grand final tomorrow at all Bass outlets. And who will be playing in the grand final? Will it be Port and the Eagles, as we saw in the Foundation Cup grand final? Will perhaps it be someone like the Eagles and Norwood? Or I just get the feeling Port are going to be there, but who they play, we're just not sure at this stage.
Well, their form today has been superb as Northeast sends them into attack. Smith over the top and gives away a free kick against Hamilton. And so Paul Hamilton to send the Tigers into attack. He crosses the field and nearly loses the ball, but he places it pretty well. Campbell Flower in receipt of that. He'll go on quickly. He's got Gibbs wide. They've switched the play. Gibbs can run in. Now watch for Fidge. You'll be looking for him. He's on a lead. He's went the wrong way, Fidge. He didn't wait for the kick. West with a chance. Front of the pack. They want a crummer. It's Rosonico. Burton combines. Chance McGuinness. He pulled it into himself. That's holding the ball. And that is the wrong decision.
You're quite right, Neville. You can't do that. Of course, the umpire caught on the blind side. Player made no attempt whatsoever to get rid of the ball right in the goal square.
Can't afford to make those mistakes in a final. It was just an obvious one. Chalmers. Chance for Bond. Marshall. McRae. Quick play is the Tigers through Marshall. A chance. He's gone. For the veteran, he's first.
Well, Marshall a chance, and he took it, and he goaled. Now Glenelg get them within 33 points. We've only played 12 and a half minutes. One of the greatest comebacks of all time to get up and win the game from here. Port Adelaide making changes on boundary side, so fresh legs could make a difference. But the Tigers perhaps just not out of it yet.
33 points.
Ango Bond.
21-11, 15-14.
Pull off. There he is.
So Cale making the change. Thompson might be having a run on the ball, I think Thompson perhaps. Or did he just rush in from half back?
Well, Haven't picked that one up yet, but he might just be following his player in. Angove's gone straight into the centre of the ground, and Hull's going to have a rest. So fresh legs for the Magpies. Great take, Hodges! Oh, he has been superb. Have a look at that. Now, you'd have to back him from here. He is a long kick. Has 9. He'd love 10 in a qualifying. He punches at it and suffers the accuracy for a little extra distance. He was going into a breeze.
It's always going to be a tough kick from there, Neville, 50 metres into a strong breeze, but he's been the star of the qualifying final, Scott Hodges.
What a performer. 25 years of age, and on the Crows list, will he be available for the Magpies next week, or will he be playing in Melbourne? Let's wait and find out as Bond, that's Troy Bond with a chance. Big performer of the day, Bond. Kick around the corner, Borlays with a chance. And another ball up. So we're 14 minutes in.
Don't forget the McGarry Medal coming up this Tuesday, 8:30, live right around the state. Who's your tip? Because there are so many of them this year, unlike Buckley last year where he dominated. There's probably, I reckon there's 12 or 13 that could realistically win it. And as I say, 8:30 Tuesday, hosted by Keith Conlon. And that will be live right around the state, only in South Australia. So if you're listening to this broadcast in Darwin and up in the top part of Australia, I'm afraid you won't be getting that. Here's Northeast. He had to clear the zone. The umpires sorted out a free kick. I think that might have been against Foster.
No, it's against the Glenelg player. He was just pulled right off the ball. The free kick had to go to Richard Foster. He's wide out on the centre wing position, but undisciplined play by the Tigers.
So Foster to boom this into attack. He's a long way out. Kicks into the pocket. Scott Hodges up in front. Hamish Stewart at the back does the disciplined thing and knocks it over the line. Scott Hodges has just dominated in the early part of this game. And those goals in that first quarter, Nipper, weren't they special?
Oh, well, it's one of the most exciting things you could hope to see in a final. A player kicking 6 goals and that really injecting an enormous amount of excitement into it.
To wreck the Tigers. His first was in the 22nd minute, 22nd of 20 seconds into that first quarter. Snapped the left foot goal. It was superb, and it just didn't stop.
Hamish Stewart now on to Scott Hodges. So he's had a few friends this afternoon, hasn't he?
Oh, he has. He started with Lamb, went to West and Hocking, and then Stewart. But he's been contained. He kicked 6 in the first, and he's been contained to 3 since then.
Shane Bond's kick into that left forward pocket, and Borlays has it.
Kicked a free goal on his left foot from about that position in the second quarter.
He's underneath the giant electronic scoreboard. There's the kick. He'd like what he sees up there. Up goes Tyler. Also Ginniver there in the thick of things as well. Tyler rushing through. McGuinness likewise. He says to the umpire, I didn't have the ball. And Timmy Ginniver just gives it across to him. Nigel, well, they call him Nigel Mansell, don't they? Darren Mansell just waves to someone further upfield. Timmy Ginniver has a word to Bailey. It's all happening. There's Smith wrestling with McCulley. They're under enormous duress here, aren't they? Bow gets it out. Well done to McRae. The hand pass went straight to Tylor. He knocks it into the path of Williams. Dangerous signs here again as Williams with a high kick. Hodges from behind couldn't control it. Daisy Borlays, and it is rolling, and it's rolling through for a behind.
The Port Adelaide fans certainly get their money's worth here this afternoon. Thrilled with Hodges' performance, the pace of Shane Bond. 3 goals in the third term. They're running this game out strongly. 18,500 odd people. It's in a pretty good day's football.
Ross Gibbs sends the ball in and finds Simon Hill. He's just backward of the 50-metre mark. He's chipped short through the centre. He almost collided, or did collide, with his another player. I think it was West. Kick is misdirected, and Paul Northeast will take it. On to Delaney, the best performed fullback in the competition. And off they go. I say that with due deference to the Tombs of this world, who've performed pretty well for their club. And But he has had a pretty good year, hasn't he, Roger Delaney?
Well, he hasn't done a thing wrong, really. He's rarely been beaten, and the attack that he's given Port Adelaide when running down the ground from the full back line has really set up the method of play that they've adopted right throughout the season. He's been the catalyst of so many forward moves that they look for him to start something.
I think Spear for the Eagles, sorry, has done a pretty good job, but Delaney is just so well performed in big games. Chance for Ango, just on the ground. Thompson's got him, legged him. Tyler back to Rowan Smith, and the opportunist pushes one in. He wanted Williams. Oh, back. Good take. Nicely judged, Ross Gibbs. From West Perth many, many years ago, and he's had a couple of premierships with the Tigers. And Ross Gibbs has played 248 odd games.
Sorry, Neville, he's had some low times. What about when he got 10 matches, I think, wasn't it, for back-chatting an umpire?
Yes, and I remember that. I think that was in 1991 or thereabouts, and I felt for him at the time, and I said at the time I thought it was wrong. I still do. Chalmers pushed it up high over the 50. Hodges, one hand, couldn't. Borlase traps it, looks for someone inside. He's got it back. Should be Hodges. No, Williams. Now Hodges, left foot. Good smother on that occasion. The ball is close. Ango, cannonball, Tyler. Offline.
Gee, they're quick that up there from that forward line, Port Adelaide. They've always got a player to come in and lend support.
Do you think Tyler was suffered, Nipper, for the focus of Hodges?
Well, perhaps that was the method of their play. But I guess it doesn't matter when you're going into a final as to who kicks the goals. But he certainly tried to make the most of the limited opportunities that he has had, yes.
So Gibbs to Kretschmer, and Kretschmer kicks straight down the throat.
Northeast is just, he owns that footy at half-back, Mark.
Yes, one of the best defenders in the business, Paul Northeast. Here's Tim Ginniver, who has seen so much football in his life. Now Kretschmer. Now McGuinness, now Heel, some very quick players there, that trio. Short one is good. Mansell, not quite in the centre. Then kicks toward left half forward. Down there is Flower, couldn't control it. Oh, bad bounce there by Mead. A chance now for them as Craig McRae has a shot at goal, and he's drilled it. So a late goal to Craig McRae. Glenelg go to 16-14, 110. Port Adelaide at 21-14, 140. The margin 30 points.
It's a real dead-eye dick around goals is Craig McRae. They got it out to him, and Fidge was drifting downfield, appealing for it. But the young fella has the confidence to shoot on goal from, well, within 50, and he doesn't usually miss, and he didn't on that occasion. He kicked his first, and the scoreboard looks a little more respectable for the Tigers.
Only played a handful of games. He made the state squad for Western Australia this year. Didn't make it through the hamstring injury, but he certainly is a player of the future. 20 minutes in, and the margin 30 points. 5 goals they need. The Tigers to win it. They won't. Troy Bond again. He's been the breakaway player the wrong way. Stewart, Hocking, and now Thompson in picture. If it sits, the Shepherd. Oh, came from McGuinness. Ango too quick. Thompson to Bailey, to Bow, and through the centre they go. The big jump from West. The loose ball to the Magpies through their skipper, Kutchi Phillips. And we say so much about him, but he just keeps on doing it. There's Troy Bond again, the player we've spoken so much about today.
Yes, the Bond boys have been fantastic, haven't they? Shane and Troy. This is Troy. He's had 20 kicks and 5 marks and a number of hand passes. There's his kick over the head of Hodges, and the mark has been taken by Borlase. So they're running riot here, Port Adelaide. Temper's just starting to get a little frayed down there as Hocking comes in, and also Bow with Tylor. And Tim Ginniver has shortened the tall of it.
Well, I think the last thing that either side would want is a report.
So here we go. Darryl Borlase from about 25 metres, and he has... I'll tell you in a minute. Is he going to get another kick?
There's a 50-metre penalty, and I think it was for Hocking's interference on Tyler. Now, I might be wrong. We might have another look at it if we can, but I'm sure that's what it was for. So it might have been either the player went over the mark.
Well, this will wrap it up. There's the replay, and he's just kicked the goal. So I just wanted to ask you, Nipper, so they wouldn't give 2 goals for that?
No, there has to be the infringement would have to come after the all clear has been given between goal umpire and field umpire. That wasn't the case, but surprisingly, I was waiting like you for the indication from the goal umpire. Was it a goal or a point, then giving the player the option? But there was a free kick given prior to the kick, so he had to be brought in front.
Well, there they are, the goal scorers, and quite clearly Scott Hodges, the match winner. Borlase with 4, Tyler with 3, as is Shane Bond. And for the Tigers, Fidge led the way with 4, Chigwitten 3, McGuinness and McRae just 2. Port Adelaide at 22-13, Glenelg 16-14. We're about a minute and 3/4 off of time on as Simon Hill is collared with the ball. His direct opponent, Rowan Smith, and that matchup has been a beauty. Maybe a break even on the day, those two, but indeed a good clash. Another bounce down, Michael Abbott in control. Lights on at Football Park. The breeze still significant to left of screen, working out of the centre. He has done it so often today, and a valuable player in finals. Troy Bond, high, Borlase couldn't take it. He's kicked 4 goals, Borlase. A great effort. Williams punches on, been well held today. Stewart, now Hill. McGuinness, just quickly to boot. Phillips behind, West, loose ball. Northeast, one of the best for the Magpies today. And Phillips again. Clears to the solid defence, Port Adelaide. Burton on the end of that. And they are solid, aren't they, Nipper?
Well, that defence has been brilliant. Rosonico, Burton, Northeast, Phillips, Delaney. It's been absolutely superb, and the rebound that they've been given couldn't be better.
And add Mead to that, Darren Mead, as Delaney holds his back. He, in actual fact, has got a bad back. Troubles him a great deal. And he indicates he was punched by Fidge. And I think just any contact with John Fidge would have to come off second best. He's a big man and he plays the game pretty hard today, pretty hard and fair.
Looking at the performance of Port Adelaide this afternoon, when you consider that the player at centre-half, or Darren Smith, hasn't been so dominant, it's just an indication of the spread of skill of Port Adelaide.
Yes, and what Darren Smith does give them is a target. He's very rarely outmarked. The ball comes to ground underneath him, and they get the crumbers there, like Shane Bond. He's caught on that occasion. Borlase punches it out to give Ango the chance. Thompson to ground. He goes to ground too often for mine. It's a chance now. Rowan Smith. Well done, Mead. The runner, he needs help again, Ango. He's on the ground. McRae, if he can use his pace. Campbell Fowl, that is, I should say. He's caught, and Foster's the player that tumbles him over. And just to update the elimination final here today, Norwood defeated Central by 21 points, so they will advance to the first semi-final, and they will now be playing the Glenelg Football Club.
Central haven't won a final for something like 20 years. Here's Bailey.
And only won 1 out of about 8 games at Footy Park this year. That's significant too, Mark.
Phillips and also West. West just showing a little bit too much pace there at the conclusion of that short burst. West and Phillips, 2 big men in the local competition. Chigwitten on the bench. I think Lamb is still there. There's Mark Williams. They'd be disappointed with this, no doubt about it. Yeah. So much expectation from that club for this match.
Still, that's not over, and it's the first final that Mark Williams has ever coached, and I'm sure he was as nervous as the player. So whilst they've taken a bit of a hammering today, I'm sure they'll be a lot harder to beat next week.
Here's Ango as the Seagulls descend.
Alfred Hitchcock birds.
Yes, they're everywhere, aren't they? Kretschmer, and it's out.
Let's hope they don't attack the players' level.
Okay, so don't forget, of course, the McGarry Medal coming up on Tuesday at 8:30 live, right around the state. That's only in South Australia. Hosted by Keith Conlon.
Your tip?
My tip is Sticks Phillips.
And Nibber?
Mine's Shane Brewer.
Very open, isn't it?
It is open. I'll go for Patterson. Phillips right behind him, if not the winner. And but it is an open. Previous years we've had the Nailies and Buckleys of this world, but not this year, as Rosonico sends it back towards centre of the ground, and Darren Smith is unable to control it. 28 in screen.
It'll be a wonderful night on Tuesday night, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of the lowest winning tallies in recent history.
Yes, it'll be an interesting result, and it's always a gala evening. It'll be held at Football Park Convention Centre, a magnificent stadium here at Football Park. We've got live facilities here, and we'll bring it to you live as it's happening, Tuesday the 14th. Centre wing now, not long to go, 2 and a bit minutes into time on. and the Magpies can resolve themselves to a second semi, the Tigers will have to regroup and try and beat the Redlegs. Won't that be a big game? Bailey goes on with it. To advantage to Barton, into the open goal, and that pretty well sums up the Tigers today. No pressure, open goal, and he is a specialist forward. He should have notched that, Nipper.
Well, they certainly, I guess it's indicative of the way they went during the second term, and they kicked 4 goals, 10 with the breeze. And in this, well, they've been a little bit more on target in the final term, 5 goals too. But really, it was sewn up at half-time. In fact, at quarter time when Hodges had kicked these 6 goals.
This is Angove. He came on in this quarter and, in fact, replaced Port Adelaide's Troy Hull, who was pretty well performed. Ball lays high underneath it. Hill stayed there with a lot of courage. Shane Bond does the harassing. Bow has to use all his pace to clear himself to Stewart through the centre of the ground. Once again, it's just a bevy of players. No real organisation down there. West, McGuinness, they're in tight traffic. They work it out to Kretschmer, and again, they're offline. And Glenelg now 16, 112. So what's that? 32 scoring shots. Port Adelaide have had 36, so they shouldn't be that far behind. Port Adelaide for the AFL. So still that dream remains at Alberton.
Well, plenty of other people would have, well, vastly different opinions on that.
Burton off and Hull on, so a late change. Here's Mead. Was Kemp out of the side, and also Shea Cockatoo Collins. Troy Bond just might have pitched a hamstring there. There it is. It is all over here at Football Park. The qualifying final has been won by Port Adelaide. A quick score check. It's 22-14, 146 to Glenelg, 16-16, 112. Next Sunday at 12:25, the first semi-final, 3:20 the second semi-final. So it's Glenelg and Norwood and the Eagles and Port Adelaide. On behalf of David, Stephen, Neville and Nipper, Mark Aston signing off from Football Park.